Limbic Arc here with us today, and he's in his natural habitat. Limbic Arc here with us today, and he's in his natural habitat. And how you doing today, Ron?
We're doing just great. Had a great
amazing call or what?
Had a great call with Dr. Cook today, and a lot of good information to share.
Nice, nice. Well, without any further ado, I want you to share a little bit of the nuggets, not all of it, just a couple of nuggets that you found kind of interesting tonight or today.
Okay, I think the biggest nugget, I think for most people were in the call because everybody gave a thumbs up on that, and that was our Family and Friends program. It was extended to the end of the year, which means that we can now use it for $10 to get full service for $10 for the Families and Friends program. It's been a wild success, and it's a great tool to help us introduce the technology to others, and we'll talk about that. And so I wanted to, there also Dr. Cook's going to be next, I think it's next Wednesday, he's going to be doing his monthly conference call on our new Info Boost, Today's Immunity, okay? You can be talking about that, going into more detail and why that's such a cool product that everybody should be using.
Yes.
And by the way, so that you guys don't know, if you were in Utah, I would welcome you by saying, congratulations, earthquake survivors. So we had a big earthquake here this morning.
Really?
And for a minute there, I thought it was in California. But we had a big earthquake, biggest one we've had in 28 years. And it was amazing. Now, the only bigger one I've been in is when I was in California. But nevertheless, it shook for about 10 minutes. It's about 10,000 people have lost their power and gas and stuff. And it was a pretty good shaker. It was a 5.7, but for us, it's pretty. We are right next to the epicenter.
Right.
So, in any event, that was kind of a fun way to start the day. It took everybody's took everybody's mind off of the coronavirus, and whatever food stuff that we have in our supermarkets after today, I'm sure it'll be gone. So, in any event, before I get started, there's something that I've never had this conversation with any of you because you came in after this happened. This happened many months ago before you were involved here. I did a Zoom meeting, a webinar meeting. She had been 6, maybe 10 months ago, maybe a year ago. In my research, I came across a gentleman. His name is Sir Jason Winston. And he just got brought up again today because someone reminded me that we had an ingredient in the library that's not there anymore, and we needed that ingredient to complete Sir Jason Winner's formula. Now, or Winston, excuse me. So here's his story, just in a Cliff Notes version of it. Sir Jason Winston. And I'm looking at him, I'm guessing he was around 60 years old. And he came down with a serious illness and disease of some type of cancer. And his whole head was infected, his jaws, his lymph nodes. And of course, when he went to the doctors said, yeah, this is really bad. You've only got a few months to live. There's nothing they can do. And he says, we could make you live longer with less pain by taking your entire bottom jaw away. Just think to have your jaw removed. The bottom jaw just totally removed from your head. And of course, he said, why would I want to do that? He says, well, because it'd be less painful in your death. You only get about 2 months. And so this is how this story started. Pretty drastic news for some guy, okay? Well, he was on his way out, really feeling bad and everything. And long story short, he found information. He's reading of course, it caused him to read the Bible to know that he might be going to see his maker soon. And he came across a passage in there that had to do with some type of herbs. And he thought, well, heck, I have no choice. I'll try these herbs and see what happens. And the herbs happened to be um, chaparral was one of the herbs. The other herb was red clover, and we have both of those in our library. In fact, they're there because of this story. And then the other one, which is a more mysterious one, it's an oriental herb called herbaline, and it has to be spelled specifically the right way, because if it isn't spelled correctly, then you get petroleum jelly, okay? And so, anyways, we placed this in the library. I sent it over to the company to place it in, not really thinking anything about it. But then months later, when I went in to try to use that formula, well, let me tell you before I tell you the rest of the story. So he started using this, and after a number of months, the entire problem he had with his cancer in his head, jaw, and everything totally disappeared. He's been on radio talk shows and television all over the world telling the story about these three ingredients. And the two ingredients, chaparral and red clover, is what he started out at. And then this herbaline happened to be something as a catalyst to help those two be much more powerful. But at the end of the day, it was a phenomenal story. And it's if you Google Sir Jason Winston, okay, Sir Jason Winston, you'll be able to find his story and see the ingredients that are used here. Now, we have those ingredients in our inventory, and the reason why I'm even bringing this up today is because I got a call from one of our affiliates over in Europe that just before our call, that it reminded me that the herbaline had been removed, okay? Well, it had been removed because when they placed it into the library, they spelled it wrong. They had one character, one letter off, and it gave the petroleum jelly version rather than the herb version of what that name is. I caught it early on, and I gave it to the company to make that correction, and it went unnoticed and unchanged for a number of months. Finally, I noticed it had been taken out of there, because when I come across it, I always remind them, hey, you need to take this out. And so finally they did, but they haven't replaced it with the correct spelling. So I've just sent that over to them just minutes before I got involved here. The correct spelling of the herbaline is called herb, Herbane. The way they spelled it in the library originally was with an O instead of an A and an I instead of an E. So that was the problem with that. But it's a phenomenal story. If you go Google it, you'll find out how effective this herbal combination is and what it did for him. And people start using it, having similar results as well. So, one of the major advantages that we have as a company is when we come across cool stuff like this, and there's many of us out there searching the web and finding formulas from people who've had successes. Now, he's not a doctor or anything; he's just an average Joe. Well, he's a celebrity over in Europe, but nevertheless, he got a lot of attention on this, and it basically changed his life. It saved his life. And these were three herbs, basically, that did this. Of course, he attributed to, and then a number of other people who had health challenges have used the same herbal formula with great results. So before you guys ever got involved here, this happened many months ago, that was placed in the library. People can use it. And in fact, on my replay, when I do a conference call replay, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I send out a replay of the call and any other pertinent information. And for a number of months, I had Sir Winston, or Sir Jason Winston's website on there and a link with the formula so people could try out and use. And after a while, of course, it's old news. We moved on. So in any event, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So I've sent that over to the company to add the correct spelling of herbaline back in there so we can get the right herbal ingredient in there. So I'm hoping they can do that in relatively short order. And it came up today because of a call from Europe just before this call. Now, the other thing I wanted to share with you too, I've been getting some calls on the new today's immunity formula that Dr. Cook and I actually created, and he's going to be talking about this next Wednesday in more detail. But at the end of the day, I'm getting some calls of people using it, and they may experience Hersheimer's, okay? And a reason why that may happen, let me give you an example. Many of us, in fact, all of us do. Some of us have more than others, but we have pathogens in our body all the time. Our immune system is designed to keep the pathogens at bay. We have pathogens come into our body all the time through our food, our drink, our water, everything. And the immune system is there to fight off, kill the pathogens. Most of the stuff happens in the gut. That's 70% of our immune response. And in our gut, when it's unbalanced or when it's in balance, the probiotics, the good bacteria, the aerobic version of good bacteria kill the bad guys, which are the anaerobic, which are the pathogens. And it just overwhelms them because we have a lot more of those, or we should have a lot more of those than the bad guys. And that's our first line of defense in our digestive system. That's why they call the digestive system immunity. When you have an herbal complex that you're taking into the body, and its historical properties have been used to kill pathogens, okay, and that's what they do, they kill them, then just think of that. If you have the immune system that does the same job through probiotics and things like that, and now you have an organic or botanical in the body doing the same thing as the immune system, it makes the immune system's job a lot easier. That's the reason why it makes sense when Dr. Cook put the name on there, today's immunity, and particularly because it's helping the immune system not having to do the job, or a lot harder job, taking out pathogens. And if the immune system is compromised, which so many people's are because of our modern day living, then that's the reason why we get overtaken by pathogens. Now, one of the more common things that happens when the immune system is not working in all 8 cylinders is we can get an overgrowth of candida, which is a fungus. That is the more common issue and problems that people have. And so if you have it for very long, and it goes on for years and years, because your immune system's kind of keeping at bay, but you're not really running on 8 cylinders, you're not feeling great. Most times it's because you have a candida overgrowth, and over the years it becomes what is called systemic, meaning that it goes everywhere in the body, and it does a lot of damage, okay, and it hurts us. And so in any event, if you have that going on, and many people do, what you need to do is understand when you take this immunity formula, okay, it looks like we have some background noise from somebody. It's got a radio or television going.
Hey, Richard, can you mute yourself?
Okay. So in any event, what we have when you have this going on, and many people have that going on. In fact, some of the research I've read before is they believe up to 60 million Americans are suffering from this problem, okay? So the reason why I'm bringing this up is when you start using today's immunity, particularly if you use it to full strength, in other words, you don't do a voice scan on it to just have your body select the top ones. If you do the whole thing, you could or may experience Hersheimer's, or some, your body is not feeling good. I mean, maybe some flu or something like that. And it may be because, here's what's happening, the information associated with the today's immunity, it has the characteristics to stop the candida or the fungus or whatever it might be, the pathogens. And what happens is the body can kill those faster, or I mean, this technology has the ability to help your body kill those faster, and your body can't remove it fast enough from your body, and so it gets reabsorbed. And when you get a pathogen that's killed and it's full of toxins, they're called mycotoxins, they're reabsorbed in the body, it's significantly worse because you're reabsorbing all these toxins. So you might have that experience that don't, it's not going to hurt you, but you might not feel good. Okay. There's some ways to minimize it. Now that's a good thing because you're focusing on getting rid of the bad guys. These are the things that over time is hurting your immune system. Okay. And so this is the reason why I believe this formula can be very beneficial to everybody, because we don't know what's going on in our body. Particularly those of you, when you do a voice scan, you come up with some of the fungal homeopathics that they're in high in the 80 and 90% range. There's a real good chance you have that going on in your body. Okay. So with that said, when you start using a formula like today's immunity, what's basically going to happen, it's going to help your body eliminate these guys. And again, what typically happens, because we're so loaded with them, many of us are so loaded with these, is it starts dying off and getting rid of, we can't get rid of them fast enough, so they're reabsorbed, and you have some negative impact there. So just know that's happened. Now to minimize that, what you want to do is to do the voice activated spark scan. And even using that one, you still could have milder versions of it, because the botanicals that are used in this formula historically are used to kill pathogens. I mean, these are heavyweight guys, the botanical versions of them. Now, we can't make any claims that ours does anything. We're using the information from those botanicals. And of course, I believe personally that there are more effective solutions, but nevertheless, we're not allowed to make any claims, diagnose or anything like that, so that you know that. But those of us using the technology understand and know how effective it's helped many of us solve a lot of health problems. And we all have our various testimonials about how effective it is. Just know that Dr. Cook, when he explains this next Wednesday, that he's going to go into the details of the formula to help people understand the value of this and why we should be taking it. Now, I have, so that you know, I've been running today's immunity for, I don't know, a couple, 3-4 days. For me, I've noticed also I've had, because I know there's other pathogens going on, I've had a little bit of a negative impact in the beginning. It's starting to improve. And I know that's what's happening. It's killing other pathogens that may not be associated with the one we're zeroing in on, and that's the big C, okay, coronavirus. And so everything that we do here is with the intent of helping improve our body's immune system. The immune system is everything. If you have an immune system that's running on all 8 cylinders, then that's an important thing. When the body's running on all 8 cylinders, it takes out everything. It takes everything that's bad. And these formulas are designed to assist the immune system in doing a better job. We don't need to get into talking about any illnesses or diseases or anything like that, because at the end of the day, if your immune system is functioning in all 8 cylinders, it's going to correct the imbalances that are occurring. Now, in our particular model, we're not providing nutraceutical products. We're not providing products that are physical products. We're providing energy information of those. And why is that significant? It's significant because our bodies, all the research that I've done, and I'm connecting all the dots, it's very apparent to me that our bodies at the quantum level, is harvesting information. In fact, that's what our bodies are designed to do. When you look at the physical aspect of our bodies, we have biochemical pathways. We digest botanicals or phytochemicals. They're digested. They're sent to receptors to handshake with cells, and that's the physical side of our biology. But at the quantum level, what's happening is the body is harvesting the very information that's contained in those biochemicals, and it harvests that because it knows exactly what it is and needs, and it goes directly to our holograms. We are, hate to surprise you, but we're holograms. Okay, I'm a hologram speaking to you right now. Okay, but nevertheless, we're holograms, and all the science in quantum physics and all the tests they've run indicate that that's so. Okay, so if you get past that fact, then what we're doing, we are communicating energy information to the hologram. And the hologram is what, when you have the hologram functioning properly, biology follows. Okay, so we're not here to focus on illnesses or diseases or say that we can do anything like that. What we're here, we've designed a program to help us be well, to help our bodies be the best that they can be in improving the immune system. And when we use the hologram to balance the hologram, then like the physical side of our reality actually comes back into balance. And so that's what we're doing here. And this new formula that Dr. Cook has put together called Today's Immunity does that. It's a tool. It's a tool of information, energy information, that when you harvest the information from these phenomenal botanicals, and there's like, I think I counted 24 ingredients in there. I could be off one, but every single one of these have the ability historically as botanicals to be very effective in removing and taking out pathogens, viruses, bacteria, and fungus. And they've been used for hundreds and sometimes even thousands of years with a great deal of information history behind them. And these are the ones that were selected in this formula to harvest the information from, to help our hologram come back into balance so we can have, what's called quantum wellness. And so let me explain to you why I believe that's as good, if not a better solution than us talking about the physical product itself. And it's primarily because it's one of our major advantages, I think, that we have outside of providing a nutraceutical. Well, there's other advantages too. I mean, when you provide a nutraceutical, you have to ship it. You have to spend, people have to pay money for the expense of that. And shipping it around the world, you can't even get into some countries, and it takes a long time to do that, and it's expensive. We don't have that problem. We can provide it to you almost instantly. And it's amazing that, we harvest this information and we provide that to you almost instantly, and people get the benefit of it. We have tremendous testimonials from people all around the world that are using the technology, I being one. In fact, I wouldn't even be here talking to you today if in the beginning of this, I did not have significant experiences with this affecting my health in major ways, not just even an imagined way. I mean, in major ways. I mean, demonstratable ways. The fact that, I always use the example. The biggest thing for me, and even though I've had a couple of really cool things happen, the big one was my asthma. I mean, I was diagnosed from medical doctors doing the test and everything. I have asthma, and that was over 10 years ago. And the symptoms have progressively got worse every single year, with the tightness in the chest, the coughing, with the shortness of breath, all of the things symptomatic of people having asthma. Now, asthma, if you do research on it, you'll find there's a lot of causes that could be. Don't know what it is. But the only thing that I have done, I haven't changed anything in my life. I've just used these spark scans. And I noticed over nearly 4 months it took before my asthma symptoms were totally gone. Totally gone. I mean, I can't even make them come back. When I tried to do it, I can't. And the other thing that I noticed during the same period of time, when everybody around me has got the flu, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, everybody, and I always get it every year because I've had a compromised immune system apparently. I will always get the flu, and I get it worse than anybody. I mean, if you were in the next county and you looked at me, I get it, okay? I don't have any of that today. I don't have any of the symptoms of asthma, which is respiratory. I don't get any flu, which typically is respiratory. And we look at this new coronavirus threat. It basically affects people in my age group more, more demonstrably, and also people who have respiratory conditions. So I would have been a prime candidate for this corona guy. And And I just don't have any symptoms whatsoever. I mean, not even a little bit. And so I'm so amazed. I'm passionate about this because I know this stuff works. And it works because, you know, the big advantage that we have is the fact that we know from current time, this isn't speculation or anecdotal or clinical or anything. We know from hard science that we are all loaded with toxins, some of us more than others. We get it from everywhere, from our food, the air we breathe, water we drink, even things we can't see like electromagnetics. All these things cause toxins in our body. Okay, now the one thing that toxins in the body do, they create inflammation and they block receptors. And both, in fact, inflammation blocks receptors and toxins block receptors, and even our food combinations of how we eat actually can block, it's called nutrient competition. All these kinds of things. And by the way, most population here in the United States, 90% of us take drugs, pharmaceutical drugs. I don't, by the way, but most people do. Okay. And that does two things. It blocks nutrients, and it also creates toxins for the body. Now, at the end of the day, that's a lot of stuff in us. It's like a Russian roulette. We have all these things that are blocking our abilities to receive good nutrition, which supports the immune system. And even some of the botanicals that we think of, botanicals that have antimicrobial properties that can help the immune system do a better job, even they can be blocked by receptors, okay, if toxins are there. And we know that Americans are loaded with toxins. So why do I believe we have a better solution? It's because what we provide is the information of the phytochemicals of those botanicals. The information is what is dealt with at the holographic level, at the energy information level, not at the biochemical level. We are harvesting, when you eat something, when you take a nutraceutical supplement, our body at the energy holographic level is harvesting the information from those botanicals, those phytochemicals. And why is that significant? Well, because the physical biochemicals are not handshaking with the cellular receptors because, well, the receptors are blocked. And that's what toxins do. And cells, when they become inflamed, they block receptors as well. And drugs block receptors, and nutrient competition block receptors. So we're starving at the cellular level. Even though we're eating food, even though we're taking supplements, we still can have that be manifest. So I believe we have an insurance policy with Limbic Arc because in harvesting the energy information, it is not physical. There's nothing there that can block that handshaking of the information of what our body really is harvesting from these botanicals. And when that happens, then of course the body comes back in a balance. And one really good example I can use to demonstrate this is the example that maybe you've heard Dr. Cook tell a story where he's had a young lady that suffering from the symptoms of scurvy, which is a deficiency of vitamin C. And remember, this was way back before we had Limbic Arc and early in the Zyto, when he had a clinic, and discovered that this young lady suffered from scurvy. She had scurvy symptoms, and yet she was eating all the right vitamin C nutrient foods. She was taking vitamin C supplements, and yet she still had this problem. And her problem went away, the symptoms went away as soon as Dr. Cook started providing her the information version of the vitamin C. Okay, so there's a perfect example. There's a perfect example of what's really happening here. I use another example I can use is where I look at my situation because I try to connect the dots and try to help me understand how this stuff works. It just makes me feel better to understand how it works. And I don't know if we have all the answers, but when I had asthma, and this time of year it got worse, and I hated it. I was always coughing, I was short of breath, especially if I tried to exercise. And there's this pressure in my chest all the time. It almost, if you didn't have asthma, you'd think you're having a heart attack, okay? And every year it got worse, and it was problematic. And I haven't found a way to really resolve that. I looked at all the kinds of things that may cause asthma, and most of it is gut related, by the way, being unbalanced, at least most research I've seen. But when I was doing the voice activated spark scan, I noticed something that was a significant ingredient. I call it a heavy lifter because it was a prominent herb that scored very high in my evaluation. When my body did the voice scan, this guy always came up there high. And when you clicked on that and discovered what that herb is used for, it's a Native American herb, and it talks about it being used as a uh, for deep-seated, it's a deep-seated antimicrobial. In other words, it takes out fungus, bacteria, and viruses, particularly that live in the lung. And I found that very interesting because, here I have asthma. It ranked very high on the listing, and I thought, okay, maybe that's what my problem is. Maybe I have some microbe that's living in my lungs, and my immune system can't get rid of it. And I also found in some research that microbes are very smart. They've learned how to hide behind the mucus layer in the tissue where the immune system can't get to them. And maybe that's, I was just connecting dots. Maybe that's what's going on with me. But at the end of the day, I noticed in doing this, every time I did my spark scan every 8 to 10 days, that I noticed this product, it's called Limation, this herb, it continued to go down lower and lower and lower. And now I wasn't taking this product. This is in its energy form. This is information of limation. And my hologram at the quantum level knows what that is. It knows exactly what it is and what to use it. So it's harvesting that information and providing it to my hologram, okay? And my body was responding. And at the end of a period of, it was like 14 weeks, that's when I just remember waking up one day and thinking, geez, I don't have that pressure in my chest anymore. I'm not coughing anymore. I'm not winded, short of breath. And I mean, it is totally, totally gone. Now, I'm looking at that and thinking, okay, maybe if I was taking, oh, by the way, there's one thing, there's something very important I want to share with you. In the beginning, I found this, or how that product got into our library. It's called Glomation. It was in one of the studies I came across, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. And I sent it into the company if they would add it to the library. And so I did that. And so what happened is in fact, they just put it in. I sometimes have to arm wrestle with them, but they just put it in. And there it was. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and order. I had already ordered some of this in the beginning. This was many, many months ago, 6, 7 months ago. And I tried it for part of a month. And I tried it and I was using it, but I didn't notice anything different. I didn't see anything change in my health, or I just didn't notice anything. Okay. So I thought, okay, well, enough for that. But then later, this is when Dr. Cook, we came up with V2, and we started doing the voice activated spark scan, and the company included Limation in there because way back when I found the stuff, I sent it over to them. They added it. I had stopped taking it for a long time, months. Okay, so there it is showing up in the library, and it's showing very high for me. I'm thinking, okay, well, I already tried the physical part before, and nothing happened. Okay, that I could tell. I couldn't tell any difference. But then over a period of time, with this Limation on the energy information component of this, the symptoms totally went away. They just totally went away. And so I look at this thinking, hey, we have, from my personal experience with me, I can't say for others, but for me, I can tell you that I believe that was probably the heavy lifter that caused me to solve my asthma problem. And it's significant. It's significant to be able to have something that's such a problem in the body and have it be gone like that. And so I'm hoping, and by the way, I'm talking with many of you out there, and you're sharing with me similar kinds of experiences that you have. Some of them are pretty amazing. They're really amazing things I can't talk about because they're third party, and they have come from that person. But nevertheless, I think we have something here that is so remarkable, and as more people start getting experiences and experiencing these things themselves, and start understanding and wrap their heads around the fact that information energy at a particular level of our existence, which is our information energy portion of our makeup, okay, is what's being communicated, what's being harvested from our physical environment. So our physical, our holographic body, okay, is harvesting information from our environment. And the environment that it's harvesting it from is, the food that we're eating. It looks at the supplements that we're taking. And even though those things that we're doing that are good may not be handshaking and creating some of the problems, when you take the information, it doesn't have that physical constraint. So therefore, it's handshaking and we're getting great results. So that's the power of what we have. And the other side of this that's just as important is the fact that where can you go in any company out there and have the ability for a system to interface with your body and your body communicate with it and say, okay, this is what's here. Here's the problem. We need this, 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 and this, and I'm going to prioritize because I need this more than this one over here. And you can select that and receive it instantly. I don't know of any company that has anything that will allow that to happen.
Nowhere. None.
And so, when you combine both of those together, I mean, it's a home run. But you have to be diligent and you have to be patient, just like me. Had I started this with when Dr. Cook went to what's called V2, that's when the voice activated spark scan program worked. It started. Okay, had I started that and I just used it for a month, I'd say got a subscription, tried it for a month. I wouldn't have had a significant enough experience for me to continue on. Okay, and I would have missed the opportunity to having this gone today, which is significant. Okay, and it's a tremendous tool. And there are some people that can even have a negative experience when they first start, because just like I mentioned in the beginning here, when you take a look at today's immunity, those botanicals are so powerful in and of themselves. Any combination of them, if you have a pathogenic, a systemic experience in your body, in other words, you have a lot of this going on, and your body's always fighting this all the time, and you're having poor health, that's typically what's going on, because your immune system isn't on all 8 cylinders, because maybe your gut microbiome isn't in balance. You don't have enough probiotics or the right kind. If you have that going on, and then all of a sudden you take today's immunity, and you initially don't feel as good, that's actually a good thing. And I want people to understand that's a detoxing thing. Now, if you want to make it easier, then maybe if you took the whole formula, don't take the whole formula. You do the voice activated spark scan, have your body select the ones it wants right now to help it. You have at least a milder impact that way. But at the end of the day, even though this is designed, we're focusing on trying to get help for the CV that's going on out there, and certainly it fits into that virus category. Just realize there's other things that are happening in our body that may be more significant than that exposure that fits into the same category, that we may receive tremendous help from using this kind of a formula and what Dr. Cook's put together here. So
I have a question, Ron.
Yeah.
Previously, what you were talking about, the ingredient that you were orally taking, right? And then it came up in your spark scan and stuff like that. Now,
Right.
Did it completely fall off of your custom spark scan, or did it just go to like lower numbers where it was just insignificant and you didn't have to select it, or did it just completely go off there to 0? Because that's a big, huge impact of a difference right there.
Yeah, I remember if I look at the timing of all this, I look at the timing, it says, okay, in the beginning, when I had the physical product, see what happened, when this first happened, it was in the beginning with Limbic Arc. It was hard getting ingredients put into the library because we had a phone app back in those days, okay? And we had to go through developers that were over in, I think they're in South Korea, if I believe, okay? And to get products incorporated, new products incorporated, it was like an act of God. I mean, it was so tough to add new things to it. That's when Dr. Cook realized, hey, this isn't going to work. If we're going to eventually put hundreds and thousands of ingredients in here, we're going to have a problem. Okay, so we're going to have a problem here doing this. So that was back in those days. So I thought, well, this slowmation thing sounds pretty interesting. I'd love to have it in there, but I recognize there's a problem. So I went ahead and ordered some of it, and I tried it. And like I said, I didn't have an experience. It was a month supply, and used it, and nothing happened. And it was months later when we had V2, we could do the voice activated spark scan, and I knew it was happening. So, but now the first time I did V2, I did that. That's when I noticed this slowmation, something that we had put in there, and I wasn't using it, but my voice scan says, oh, boom. I mean, it was right at the top. It's like, you need this stuff. And I thought, well, I tried it, didn't, but, it led me to believe, first of all, that maybe in my makeup for asthma, there's something that's being blocked, and it's easy to have that happen. And I wasn't handshaking with what I needed there. But when I got the energy version of that, the information version of that, there's no physical blockage. Therefore, I was getting the full benefit to ultimately my hologram. Okay. And I noticed now over a period of time, when it dropped off the radar, it dropped off the radar. When I say dropped off the radar, it went below 70%. That's when I first realized, hey, I don't have this anymore. Now in fact, the next time that's a good point, Steve. What I think I should do the next time, I want to go down and find it where it ended up being. Okay, is it in the single digits? Is it in the teens, 20s, whatever? But I noticed the impact for me when it went below the 70s. That's when I noticed the impact of I didn't have the problem anymore, and so that's the way it was.
And you know what? Sometimes 30% of effectiveness right to the cellular level is more than enough. You know what I mean? Because it's going straight to the cellular level without toxicity, blockage, dysbiosis, and any form of disagreements. You know what I mean? That's huge right there.
Yep, absolutely. So when you look at this, what we're trying to do, and that's the reason why we can get out of that disease model that that Western medicine has. We don't even want to go there. What we want to do is just focus on getting quantum wellness. Quantum wellness is just providing the information that the body needs to more effectively process what it needs to do at the quantum level, which is our hologram. We don't need to focus on anything or any labels or disease or anything like that. Just say, look, what these things do. These botanicals have information in them that are valuable. Historically, at the physical side, yeah, they do a lot of cool things, and they may be connected to people connecting dots between various illnesses and diseases. We don't need to do that at the information side. We're just harvesting the valuable information of those botanicals, and it's coming into our body, and our body knows where it's deficient, what it needs. And so it'll identify the ones that it's most important for it. We get the information, and then it balances the hologram. And we don't have to be concerned about what illness or what formula should I use for this or whatever that. Your body, and the voice activated spark scan, it's taking the guesswork away. It's doing that for you, okay? But just be patient, though. I mean, like I said, for me, it was 3.5 months before I saw the real results of what happened there.
Absolutely. And that's the powerful thing about what we have on our hands, is that we're not here to diagnose or cure anything. We're just here to help your body get right back into balance. And like you said, Ron, on another one of these webinars, every single time that you do a custom spark scan, it's like Christmas. It's like you just wonder what it's going to be, what's going to come up on the radar. And, I've been doing so many spark scans with so many people from all around the world, and it's just amazing how accurate this technology is and how it can detect exactly what your body has been asking for. And I think I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she was actually taking some eucalyptus. And this is not something that, the average person is taking, but when we did the spark scan, it popped up on the radar. So it just shows that this technology can see what your body is seeking and what it's needing, and it can put your body right back into balance. And another amazing thing that we have about this technology is that we can do a wide range of things. We have people who are, taking away their pains. We have people like you who have been able to relieve themselves from having asthma. We have people that have been able to lose weight. So many different things that people think that it's a different product that we're promoting, but it's the same exact technology, and that's super, super amazing and powerful.
And the reason why it is, because it's personalized to you. This is a technology that your body is seeking exactly what it needs out of the library, what it needs to bring it back into balance. We don't have to focus on any type of label on a disease or anything like that. It's saying, hey, I need some of this and I need some of this, and it prioritizes that. And I think the other side of this, which we haven't focused on yet, at least in this discussion, and we have been talking about the botanical application, because that's where the whole industry has lived for forever. We've expanded even beyond that, and the non-botanicals have just as significant impact in our health as the botanicals. For example, take a look at electromagnetics. Okay, when you look at electromagnetics, I mean, 100 years ago we didn't have that. Okay, pretty much or close to that. And since electromagnetics has been incorporated in man's experience on Earth, it's been negative biology. Okay, and I've shared with you on some past research over the last month, in fact, that shows some scientists have shown in their reports how it impacts our health clear from the first day they start doing radio waves, okay, on up through, and what it does to our health. And of course, now we're going into the space age of 5G, and how detrimental the science is about what that can do to our health. Now, understand that electromagnetics is just as damaging and toxic to the body as toxins, okay? In fact, might even be more so. And so now, you think, when you go to the health food store and you buy something, what do you buy? What do you buy to help you get rid of electromagnetic toxins? I don't know of any. Maybe there is. There might be some minerals and things that are a little bit more effective there, but at the end of the day, they're tough to find and come by, and they may not be effective. But think of it, with our technology, we have the ability, first of all, to identify that you're even being exposed to it. I mean, that's a game changer. It's going to come up on your radar and says, oh, Ron, you're being affected by 4G here, or broadband, or something like that. So first of all, it at least brings it to your attention that you do have exposure there and your body doesn't like it. And it's telling you that we got an issue here. The next thing is the ability, because the way it's set up through homeopathy, Dr. Cook has explained to me, in homeopathy, when you select the name of something, okay, it's not giving it to you, it's stopping it. It's the countermeasure. And so when you have something comes up like 4G, when you select 4G in your boost, it's basically putting the brakes on 4G that doesn't have the impact. So what you should be able to expect then is when you do future boosts, because it's like, we're talking about, it's like Christmas time every time we do a spark scan, because wonder what's going on now. This is really interesting. It's fun to do that. So for me, the real example, I had 4G came up in my last one. It was 92%. That means that it's my body saying, hey, your body doesn't like this 4G stuff. It's hurting you, and why not? I'm on this all the time. Okay, so the next, and I did it 8. I normally wait 10 days, but it was Christmas time and I wanted to do it sooner. So I looked at it. 8 days came past. I wanted to see what happened to that 4G. Is it still there, and what's going on? So I did it, because this is one I'm on the phone all the time. So I know that I'm being exposed to it. And so the next InfoBoost I did, it went from 92% down to 80%. Okay, so it's heading in the right direction. Kind of the same story, the Lomatium story. But, and so I'm hoping every time I do this, keeps on going down until it drops off the radar, because it's stopping it. And I've had a few others come up like that too. And then you look at, now there's something we haven't talked about for a long time, and I haven't focused on this simply because we don't have it yet, but it's in development, and I can't tell you how many months. a way we are, and that is we know that that looked pretty good. So
He's always stunting on us right there. Well,
you
you know what, Ron, real
yeah,
quick, because I know time is an issue here in regards to recording this. The Rife machine, can you go into a little bit of detail on the Rife machine and these different radionics
okay,
frequencies that they have out there that they're trying to compare to what we have here
you
with
bet.
Limbic Arc? You
Okay,
know, I know
good.
they clear different pathogens and
You
stuff,
bet.
but it's you know, it's uncomparable to our biofeedback
You
technology that
bet.
we have. So can you go
Okay,
into a little bit
good,
detail
good
on that?
question. Okay, good question. Now, the things that you're talking about, the Rife technology, and also it's called radionics technology, they're two different things. I have all that equipment. I've experienced that. I've used it for years before there was Limbic Arc. And here's what I can tell you. First of all, it's what we have is so far superior. It's just unbelievable. And here's the difference. First of all, the only one that I feel that has true value is the Rife machine. Uh, in fact, I could probably, I could go get it real fast and show it to you even. But anyways, the Rife machine, it's based on frequency, and Dr. Rife discovered that if I can provide a certain frequency to a pathogen, it will disrupt its life cycle and die. And that's very good. And it works. It really good. It really works. I can give you an example. My son, um, I had him use the Rife machine, and he turned it on. I can't remember. It had to do with a virus or a bacteria or a fungus or something. And I told him, I said, his name's Jeremy. I said, Jeremy, don't only run it for about 10 minutes. Because if you run it longer than that, you could have Hersheimer's. If you have a lot of pathogens in your body, it kills them, and then your body can't get rid of them fast enough. And of course, Dad doesn't know what he's talking about. He cranked it up and left it on for an hour. Okay. Well, the next day he could not get out of bed. He was so sick. Okay. Now, and I've used it before. It does kill pathogens. Very good. But here's the key: you have to know what settings. And when they program this stuff, they put in X number of frequencies that associate with different types of pathogens, and you have to know that. And then if you have new ones in the future, you're out of luck. Okay. But it is very effective in taking out pathogens that way. Now, the radionics machine is different technology. It you have a little box in it, a little container, and then there you put in human DNA, which is like your fingernail. That'd be your human DNA, and then you can put in a botanical or a couple botanicals, things that you know that have value for health. Now, when you put it in, you turn this on, and it broadcasts the 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 information from the botanical to the recipient of that DNA, which would be you or anybody else. Okay. And that's how, but you know something? I've used that technology for years and I've never seen benefit from it. I've never physically experienced benefit from it. The Rife machine I have, killing pathogens, but the radionics I have not. And we are not radionics. We are totally different. Okay, we're not radionics, and we're not frequency. All that is a subset of what we do. The information is
Subset.
everything is a subset of what we do. And then of course we have the biofeedback version. Nobody has that. I mean, there's so much more that we have and can do, and we're always expanding and adding new things. So come on, think of this. Once we move into the emotional component of this, it's huge. You know, where do you go and buy some botanicals out there for your emotions? There's some that they have impact on your hormones and things like that. But we're talking about emotional blockages that live in the subconscious. Nobody has anything like. I mean, we're going to have solutions to that. When you combine that with the botanical side that we have and the energy side that we have, there isn't anything out there comes close to what we have.
Awesome. That's good to know, right? Because it's a lot of, you know, people that's kind of techie and they swear by this industry, and they just need to know the difference between what we have. And, you know, because we have a patent pending on most of our biofeedback technology, they want to know more about that, you know, so.
Well, it would, Bounce, it would be like, for example, I've heard somebody, well, share with us the details of that. Well, that'd be like go to Coca-Cola and say, you know, you've got this formula here that's creates billions of dollars a year. We want to know what it is. Well, of course they're not going to share that with you. That's and in fact, that's proprietary. They don't even have it under patent. Dr. Cook has the biofeedback as a patent, and he has all the other things and how he combined everything together. This model will work as a proprietary offering. And so he's not going to share the details and the exact mechanism of working of how that works because that's his competitive edge.
And that makes 100% sense. Competitive advantage. Great. So thank you for sharing this, Ron Spence. Really appreciate you hopping on here and giving us all these golden nuggets. We have a few more minutes available. Is there anyone here that has any questions for Ron? Any comments, concerns?
Hi guys, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see how I could get on Ron's email list.
Okay, we'll send you out an invite for that, Michelle.
Okay, thank you.
That's $1,000.
Well, because you're part of our circle
let me
here,
just get a few more people on the boost, Ron, and I'll be good.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Thank you, Spence. Okay, from Saeed. Let's see. Any other questions, comments, suggestions, concerns, testimonials?
Hey, I think the biggest news of today, though, I mean, it's huge, and that is the fact we have the ability to use all of this for $10 a month. Can you believe that?
Right.
I mean, that's extended up to the end of the year.
I got
Right.
the email right now. I just saw the
Yeah.
notification, so that's huge, and I'm super excited.
Yep,
Yeah,
it is.
Absolutely. And that's for friends and family. So for the new
Yep.
people thinking it's
Yep.
$10 just to get started, no, it's $100 to get started. And you can add on friends and family members for $10 each, up to 5 per person. That is very exciting.
That's definitely awesome. I have 4 of my family members on there, so that saved me a nice.
Yeah, that would have ran you another like $200 right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, for real.
Still worth it though. Still most definitely worth it.
Yes. Well, we're at the top of the hour, guys. Appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you, guys. We will have this recorded and sent to the A.i.Global Legends group. Without further ado, peace and blessings from Master Jamil and the whole A.i.Global Legends family.
See you guys.
Peace.